Greetings and welcome to the world of Vanaheim. Today we're going to be having a look at the different ways of getting into playing Vanaheim, given that there's multiple boxes. So what are the differences between these two boxes? So the original large box was released for $59.99 from the Games Crafter. This contains everything you might need to be able to play Vanaheim. That's to take yourself from level 1 all the way up to level 5, fight the Fire Drake, and have epic adventures in all sorts of dungeons. Now, while the Game Crafter is a brilliant website that really supports independent small-scale game designers getting their games into the public eye and fulfilling people's dreams in publishing some absolutely brilliant games, we know it can be a little expensive. That's down to the way the Game Crafter works, in the fact that each time a game is made, it is printed as a custom order and delivered. So we looked at presenting Vanaheim in a different way. For less than $30, we released this set. Now this is the level 1 adventures, the red box. And in there is everything you need to create a hero and play the game. However, that focuses on simply getting you into the game, on those level 1 adventures. In order to further expand that, there are some further expansions. There is the level 2 to 3 Fame and Fortune, and the level 4 and 5 Legendary Heroes that accompany that in order to boost that content up to the same as the original game. So all of those together add up to actually more than the original game, because there's some things in there that we'll look at in a little bit. So what is in the level 1 adventures box? Well, opening it up, firstly there is a bit of spare space. That's so you can put the extra packs and expansions in when you get those. There's a number of character sheets which use this sort of attachment modular system, which is absolutely brilliant design. We have got a full colour rulebook explaining the entire rules for the game. We have got a quite healthy stack of equipment cards, the loot, one of the 2 loot decks for the game. We've also got treasure cards, which is one of the other loot deck for the game. We've got our dungeon deck, the cards used to create the dungeon that we explore. Monsters that then inhabit that dungeon, including some new ones that weren't in the original box. We have got talent cards that allow you to customize your hero. Some encounter table cards that tell you what monsters you might be fighting. And then we have the magical treasures and some of the town buildings, as well as the quests you get from those town buildings in order to give yourself objectives when you go into the dungeon. Character creation is incredibly simple. Use the rulebook, fill in a character sheet, you've got some choices to make, and then pick one of the talents from the deck, arm your character, and we're done. So we have Ragnar with no time to die and a club, a level 1 warrior. Now to make this game work, it's really simple. Firstly, we have the entrance card, where every dungeon starts on the entrance card. We have our shuffle dungeon deck, which generates the dungeon. We have monsters, an encounter table, treasure cards, and finally we have a shuffled item deck. Now the dungeon is sort of randomly created. The player's got a little bit of choice how it's laid out, but we will start off by taking one of our actions to explore. This is not a good first card for me. The icons mean different things. This means it's quite a dangerous card, and monsters will basically respawn here. So what I need to do is roll a dice, And on a 6, that means I'm fighting a level 1 bandit. Each monster has its own stats and its own abilities. So if we find the bandits, when they're at full health, we use the grey bordered, and then when they're injured, we use the red bordered side. It's simple turn-based. I've got a club, I'm going to try to hit it. I add 1 because I'm a warrior and very good at fighting, and I'm just trying to beat its evade of 4. 2 hits, superb. Now, it does have armour, so it can try to resist some of this damage. So with 2 5s, it doesn't manage it, neither does 6. I've done 2 points damage to it. That's enough to flip that card, to injure it. And it's over to the bandit's turn. It's going to counter me with 2 dice as well. And it needs to beat my evade, which is also a 4. So, a 1 and a 5, that's 1 point of damage against me. Start with 7 health, now down to 6, so I'm injured, but I'm doing alright. And I get my return attacks. So again, rolling 2 dice, and I'm looking at 3s now for my bonus. That's an extra hit. The bandit's taking 1 point of damage. Over to its attack, its returning attack. It's done a 6 against me. Luckily, it doesn't do critical damage, but that is an extra hit. I'm down to 5 health. And my return attack of a 5, 6. Brilliant. That's an extra 1 point of damage. That bandit is now dead. Different monsters drop different treasures. This one's got a chance of giving me an item card. So I roll a dice and I want a 5 or a 6. Not quite. I managed to get a 4, which is a treasure card. So I've got myself some ripped furs, which I can happily carry back there, and hopefully trade for some money when I get back into the town. So continuing on, I've got 5 health. I've got the ability to heal myself, so I think it's time to carry on and see what happens. My map cards, turn my ammo card. Now, I can't place this card. The cards must go this way up or this way. They can't attach that way. But it can attach here. Brilliant. That is, however, a dead end, which is not looking so good for me. So, what I'm going to do is roll a dice and add 1 to it to see what kind of creature I meet. So a roll of a 3 plus 1 puts me up against a wild Virco. These guys are a little bit more interesting. Vicious and feral Dever, probably an exile ejected from its tribe and looking for things to scavenge. Bandit can go away. I'm going to attack it first, 2 dice, and I'm looking at a 3 straight away. That's a 4 and a 1. That's enough to do damage to it. Now, flee. When this card is flipped this face up, but not killed outright, but this monster to one side. The next time encounter dice are rolled, that will join the fight. Now, there's a dead end. The only place I can come is back on myself, which means I've got to reroll my encounter dice. Normally I wouldn't do that because I'd already explored that tile, but in this case, it's got a symbol that means I need to roll encounter dice whenever I go into this card. Oh, a 1, brilliant. So 1 plus the 1, 2, no encounter there, but this wild Virco does get added to the fight. Should be able to kill it without a problem. It's a little bit stronger now, it's quite angry with me. But I'm going to hit it with the club, and with a 3, that's enough to kill it. Meaning again, I've got a chance to find some nice equipment. So, a 1, that is a treasure card. So looking at my top treasure card, I've got a copper cup. Awesome. I can store that just as inventory. Not attached to the character sheet, but I'm only allowed to carry a small number of those. Now let's carry on exploring. I was here when I fought the wild Virco. So I'm going to carry on this way. I will have to go back through this card at some stage to get out. That worries me, but we'll see how it goes. So, go and draw another dungeon card. Now this one, I can't place. Pity, it's got some treasure on it, but I'm not allowed to put cards like that. There's nowhere to put it, so I put that in my face-up map deck. It means I can use it later for another reason. And draw another one in its place. Oh, dead end, so it is a small dungeon. But the good news is, there is some treasure here, so with my other bits I should be able to go back with a little tidy haul. So what I do is I pick up a treasure card. Oh, interesting. This one. Event, wall collapse. Remove and discard a single dead-end map card of your choice that's been played. Then discard this card. So what I can do is actually get rid of, say, this card, this sort of slightly dangerous one, and just discard it. Any discard cards go back into their respective pile. Now, if I head back this way, I could go this way using this card, but that means again fighting whatever is in this area. It's a really awful card to play at the first time, but it does demonstrate things quite well. So I roll a dice. This time I'm fighting a wolf, including the +1. Not that worried about most of these creatures this early on, although they do get a lot stronger. So there's problems if I attack it with fire. It means I can't run away very easily, but it's quite easy to hit. Roll two dice, and I'm just looking at included by +1. I've got just 2s. Splendid, that's 2 hits. That's enough to flip the wolf immediately. It gets to attack me with that 2 dice +1. It needs 3s. Oh, brilliant. Complete misses. My counter against it, and it is dead, and I pick up a treasure card. Sorry, an item. Yes, treasure card. Correct. Oh, this is absolutely brilliant. A Manlier flower means that I can actually restore some of my health. So I'm back up to 6 health out of 7. And I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to head off this way and use this card from my face-up deck, which immediately means I get to draw another treasure card. Patch of copper coins, which I can attach to my belt there. Or I could have put it in my inventory, but I'm happy attaching it there. So, we will continue this adventure shortly. One thing that makes Vanaheim stand out is the immersion. It's not just a case of adventuring into a dungeon until you die or meet a monster. You can choose to leave whenever you want to, either victoriously or to return a different day. So when things get a bit much, we simply tidy away the dungeon, have our character, and we can see about returning back to our home. Our town, our settlement, starts with a tavern. That allows us to heal up, sell items, things like that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 coins worth of treasure to sell. Superb. Started with a coin or 2, which means another 6 coins. Now, I need to heal up. So, I can spend 1 coin to heal up. And now back at full health without a problem. Different options to healing. But what I can also do is buy new buildings. And with the Fame and Fortune pack, you get a lot more buildings. And also in some of the expansion packs, there's buildings as well. So, most important one to start with is definitely in the notice board for 1 coin. And that allows me to start drawing mission cards. Now I've got a few other cards. I've got Gull's Hall, which is another adventurer's building, and I've got a shop I can buy. The shop allows me to start getting nice equipment quite quickly. So I think I'll get the shop as well for 2 coins. Now with the notice board and shop in play, when I leave the dungeon, I am allowed to create a deck of cards. And these are these mission cards, these quest cards, if you will. So, shuffle them up, if I can do that without dropping them everywhere. And I'm allowed to take as many of these as I do level. So I'm only level 1 at the moment. Here we go, bounty on Dever. I get 1 coin for every Dever killed in that dungeon. The next time I go on an adventure, I want to kill as many Dever as possible, which is quite useful because they also dropped useful equipment. I also get the ability to, in the shop, draw some item cards. So I get to draw 3 item cards. and place them on the shop face up. Now these are items I can buy from the shop. So we've got a torch, braces and leather armour. As a warrior, the leather armour is something I definitely need. But it's going to cost me 5 coins. I've only got 2 left. Braces will cost me 4 and a torch will cost me 2. Torch is quite useful because it'll give me some face-up map cards which will help me exploring the deck. It'll light up my way. Braces good at defense, and leather armor superb at protecting myself against hits, especially as I say as a warrior. Now the nice thing is they will stay in the shop until I choose to discard them or I buy them, which gives me another ability to upgrade. As you expand your settlement, you'll get the ability to buy skills, magic, more quests will become available, hirelings, as well as other various activities, opportunities and resources. So we've magically jumped ahead to the Fame and Fortune level 2 to 3. And what does the pack contain? Well, since we've magically jumped ahead, Ragnar is now stronger, able to do more damage, able to evade better. His health is now astronomical at 12. We've got new weapons, new other equipment. We've got animal companions as well as human companions as well. We've got skills which work a lot like talents but can be updated and changed. We've also got a lot more monsters. We have got a lot more loot as well as new cards, encounters and things like that. So, carrying on as though nothing happened, we're going to carry on north from this point. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a map card, and we are at one of the new decision cards. It says draw a decision card. So at this point we have got click, you trigger a spear trap. Quickly, before the ancient mechanism activates, do you jam the machinery or dodge the attack? Well, I've got a lot of health. I've got some equipment I get rid of. I could try to jam equipment with the ripped furs I'm carrying, intercept the spear, wrap it up and then jam it into the gearwork, or I could simply try to dodge the attack, but that attack looks pretty lethal. So what I'll do is I will jam that attack by discarding my ripped furs. So I've lost some of my equipment, but I'm feeling good for it. Now, carrying on. Superb. We've got a junction here. We can go left or right, but the first thing to draw is one of these treasure cards, and we've got a locked door. Okay, so we play it, and that room is behind that locked door. I can't get through that locked door unless I have some means of opening it. Well, I could always just kick it down. Immediately roll on the encounter table with a +1 modifier. So I'm going to roll a dice, add 1, and see what I bump into on my level 2 encounter table.